to make your life an awful lot easier when you're recording video for YouTube or your vlog. First almost essential thing is a tripod. Even if you're using a mobile phone, you can use a tripod or an angle poise like the one that's holding the microphone. That's going to make everything steady. Yes, I'm aware it's ironic because I'm hand holding the camera. So to get good audio, we can use the built-in flipping motorbike car going past. We can use the built-in microphone on the camcorder, so long as I'm nice and close to it, which I am at the moment. The second thing that you want is a really good microphone. And yes, that looks really expensive and costs less than £20 on eBay. The other thing you're going to need is some good software. So I'm using Audacity for the audio, and I'm using OBS on the right, and OBS is displaying the screenshot of Audacity, which is why you're seeing it twice. Another really useful thing, if you don't have high quality speakers, go and buy a decent pair of headphones. I'm not going to tell you which make to buy, there are plenty of reviews on these, but makes like Bayer Dynamic, AKG, Sennheiser, they're what professional audio people use. Okay, mine are AKG. And they weren't expensive, you can buy them for £40 or £50. They're great for starting off, some people will spend more than that. Don't use these flipping Beats audio ones, they're absolutely terrible. They're a complete and utter load of rubbish. Now some microphones, this one is a condenser mic, and it's very sensitive and it picks up from 2 points. One in front of it, which you can identify by the model number, and one behind it. But the sweet spot is at the front. You can get it with various mounting cradles, you can get a spit shield to go in front of it to get rid of the sibilance noises when you're speaking into it close up. And this angle poise allows me to adjust it to almost anywhere. These require really thick cables, and they also require a 48 volt power supply. And you can use a mixer or you can use this. This one's a Neewer 48 volt power supply. It just plugs into a little brick power supply and you turn it on. It's great, you know, it's good fun. That will give you a really high quality sound. It's a little minor inconvenience to buy the power supply as well. Anyway, let's go back to the studio. Hi, you might be tempted to use your camcorder's built-in audio. This is the reason why you shouldn't. It's distant, it's unclear, and we can do a lot better than that. So I'm going to show you how to improve it using a microphone and a few free audio editing tools and video editing tools. And what we're going to end up with is a complete video sequence that we're going to edit, get rid of all the little mistakes out of it. But you won't hear that because you can't hear me, can you? And I think it's fairly obvious when you hear me on a close-up microphone that you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive, but it costs less than $20 or £20. But you do need some other equipment to work with it. But we'll come to that in a minute. So let's have a look at how to record audio. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the clips we just recorded. So the first one I'm going to pull in is, firstly I've renamed all the files so that I can tell which audio files belong with which camera. So this is the built-in audio recording from the camcorder. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your camera's built-in audio. And I think it's fairly obvious when you hear me on a close-up microphone that you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive, but you might think that's pretty good. Wait till you hear this. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your camera's built-in audio. And I think it's fairly obvious when you hear me on a close-up microphone that you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive, but it costs less than $20 or £20. Now if you notice, there's no background noise on that recording. It's not just due to being a better quality microphone. I've also set up some filters. I'm going to show you how to set up filters to do exactly what I've just done. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your camera's built-in audio. Now, if you look at this clip, you can see when I'm not talking there's residual noise between each part of it. So although it's fairly clear, but you do need some other equipment to work with it. But we'll come to that in a minute. So we can tell by the audio meter at the top that it never really drops down to 0 between each clip. But you do need some other equipment to work with it. But £20. But you do need some other equipment to work with it. But we'll come to that in a minute. So first dropping down to minus 48 decibels. And the trick with recording levels, it should only go into the red occasionally. And the red on this starts at minus 6 decibels. You can't record above 0 dB the recording system. So it's not like the old VU meters. So one of the things we need to do firstly, let's get one with some background noise in. Let's just have a listen to that on its own. Be nice if that wasn't there, wouldn't it? And then there's also the Peter Piper pickle pepper. You can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive, but it costs less than $20 or £20. That you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive. There's quite a bit of popping on that. So the first thing we'll do, you can do it on a short section initially. So let's have a look at this section, and we want the audio to be quiet when I'm not talking. We go to Effects. You have to import this noise gate, so the first thing you do is go to Tools, Add Remove Plugin. And then you need to download the Nyquist audio sound gate, noise gate. A lot of information in here. Go to the download page, and then according to which version you've got, you can download it. Once you've downloaded it, you'll need to unzip it, and then once you have that unzipped, you can then install it here. It should appear in this list. Go to N, Nyquist, Noise Gate. So that is the location of my file, and I literally just press enable, and I already have done, so I'm not going to do it again. But you can see it's enabled in the list. The beauty of a noise gate is that it will work just between certain volume levels. Now we know that most of the noise was located below 30 decibels. And the threshold needs to be a bit low. Well, the threshold needs to be at 30 decibels. And then the level, the amount we want it reducing to, it doesn't need to be a dramatic amount, 15 or 20 decibels. So we'll try it, because we've got a section highlighted, we can preview it. But you do need some other equipment to work with it. But you do need some other equipment to work with it. You notice how that was completely quiet? If I don't apply the effect and play the same section, but you do need some other equipment to work with it. You hear the background noise all the way through. So if we now apply the effect just to that section, and then play the section before it and that section, and listen to the difference in background noise level. It costs less than $20 or £20. But you do need some other equipment to work with it. It's absolutely no noise between those two sections. So we'll undo the effect, because I only want it to apply twice. So press Ctrl and A to select the whole section. Go to noise gate, the settings will remain as we set them last time, and we'll apply it. There we go, that should be lovely and quiet. So even from this very start section, where I'm not saying anything, you should not be able to hear any audio on this. I've still got my speaker turned right. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is... Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your camera's built-in audio. Now, if you set the noise gate to severe, you're reducing the noise too much, you will get this pumping effect where you can hear the volume being increased and decreased. So you need to play around with the settings somewhat to make sure you haven't got that. And the other thing that we've got here is this per sound. Okay. Sorry, that was okay. Not that one, this one. That you can buy for quite a small. So you can hear that going per popping into the microphone. Again, we can reduce that. It's easy. We just go to Effects, Filter Curve. And because I'm speaking close to the microphone, we get quite a bit of sibilance. So all you have to do with this, reset it. It starts off as a straight line normally. So all you do is you say, let's put it back how it should be, how it was at the beginning. That's having no effect on the sound at all. And I've just made an arbitrary decision that say everything above 2 kilohertz, I want to start reducing it, but I want it to be very gradual. And then I've set a point at 100 hertz, and everything below that, I'm quite happy to have that reduced. So let's try that filter on this section. That you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive. That has reduced the popping by quite an amount. You don't need to get rid of it completely, so long as it's not maxing out on the meters up here. That you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive. So that only peaked at just over -6 decibels. So that has improved the quality of the audio considerably. And again, because I've done it on a section already, I'm going to undo it, select the whole of the audio, and apply the effect. And there we are. And this audio should be noise reduced and have no pops on it. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your camera's built-in audio. And I think it's fairly obvious when you hear me on a close-up microphone that you can buy for quite a small budget. It looks very impressive, but it costs less than $20 or £20. Okay, so yes, the audio has degraded slightly, but it's a lot more audible than it would be if we hadn't done that. So I'm going to export that as a new version. Now I use OGG files. Always label the new copies of the files. Don't overwrite the originals, because if you mess something up, you can go back to the original, you can reapply the effects. Also, it's important in Audacity to store the project, not just the file. If you store the project, you can again manipulate the files completely differently. I'm going to export that as the edited version. You can put our details in here, metadata about the file. So let's just do a quick comparison between this. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your cameras. That's the kind of worst case scenario. But let's compare that to the original when I can get hold of the file manager. Thank you. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is why you shouldn't be using your camera's built-in audio. I think mine sounds better, yeah? So that's all we need to do to the audio. We need to do that for each clip that we're going to use. But we can now import that into our video editor. Of course, my favourite one is KdenLive. Let's have a look at that.